Have you ever wondered what the best games and contests are for your tournament? Or how many is too many? How many should you have? Or maybe how can you raise an additional 25% to your bottom line with games and contests? Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another GTAA webinar. My name is Phil Mordino, and over 30 years, we've had the opportunity to work with thousands of tournaments around the world. So we hear what works and what doesn't work. And my job here today is to bring you some of that information. Our mission as the GTAA is to help you produce the best golf tournament possible. So today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to go into detail on something that we haven't gone into detail before. We've touched on it. But I want to share with you how to make money with games and contests. And we're going to cover everything that you need to know about games and contests. In fact, today we're going to talk about things like what is the purpose of games and contests? How do you make money and maximize that income with games and contests? How do you engage golfers? How do you get them involved? Sometimes they don't want to play or they don't want to pay. So how do we get them involved? We're going to take a look at what we believe are the top 10 games and contests that we've seen around the country. And then we're going to share some other stuff with you, some other games and contests, maybe some whole activities, and bottom line, how to make some money. So appreciate you joining us. I know you're busy. We're going to make your time well worthwhile. This call will be recorded, so if you have to leave early or by chance you want to share this with some of your committee members, you can do that afterwards. We'll send you the link. So we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear not only your comments and thoughts on this webinar, but other webinars that we do, but also we want to hear about the games and contests that work best for you. You've all tried different ones. Which ones make the most money for you? We want to hear about that. So with that, let's get into it. First of all, what is the purpose of games and contests? Why have them at all? Some tournaments have a lot of them. Some tournaments don't have very many. Some tournaments have too many. What is the real purpose? Well, first of all, there's several reasons why you want to have some games and contests, whether it's a fundraising event, whether it's an entertainment event, or whether it's a serious competition. That'll determine how many games you have. But one of the most important reasons is excitement. When you have games and contests, it just builds excitement. Did you know that close to the pin is on the next hole, and let's get ready for that? And how about the long drive? So you want to build excitement and enthusiasm. Plus, keep in mind that most of your golfers are not serious golfers. Most golfers that play in these charity golf tournaments are just once or twice a year tournaments, and 4 or 5 hours on the golf course can get a little bit boring for them. So you want to engage them in some exciting games and contests to keep their enthusiasm going. So excitement is a real good reason to put on golf games and contests. Memories. Games and contests are going to help build memories of your event and your sponsors and your organization, because they're not going to remember 5 hours and every shot and every hole. But what they are going to remember is that one game that they won or they got involved in and how close they were to winning it. So it builds memories, for your event and your organization. It helps you make more winners. And to be honest with you, that's one of your main jobs, is to make a lot of winners from your tournament. Why is that? Well, winners come back, whether it's that close to the pin, first place, second place, last place. Winners will come back because they remember your tournament and they want to be a winner again. But most importantly, I believe that games and contests are designed to help you raise an additional 25% to your bottom line, because if they're done properly, which we're going to talk about how to do them right, you're going to raise a lot more money. And that's very, very important for your organization, especially if you're a fundraising event. So how do we engage these golfers? How do we get them involved? And how do you make more money with it? Well, there's a few ways, and this is what we've seen work for a lot of folks. Number one, and we don't see this happening a lot, but we encourage it, and that is the promotion of games and contests. Many of us golfers will come to a tournament and we won't even realize that there is a gaming contest until we get to the tournament. So I like to see promotion of these games and contests in advance. Talk about it on your website. Talk about it, in your emails. Talk about what the prizes are going to be. Rarely do I see what I can win, but I want to know what I can win. So address these questions. Put the games in the contest in some of your emails. Definitely post them on your website, in any brochures that you've got printed up, and then very importantly on that fact sheet, that fact sheet that every golfer gets when they first get to your tournament, that shows them, what the format is, where the close to the pins are, but show them in advance so they can anticipate that. And then finally, you want to announce that when you're welcoming the golfers to your tournament. You want to make it clear where the games and contests are and who's sponsoring them, give them additional exposure. It's important that you promote games and content in advance. Second thing we recommend is to bundle them. So many tournaments are trying to nickel and dime your golfers. You ask for $5 here, $10 here, and to be honest with you, nowadays rarely do people carry cash. So you want to bundle these events, however many you have. You can call it whatever you want. We've seen it called the super ticket, the big bundle, but that too should be promoted in advance. For example, you may want to say, you can get involved with the putting contest and the hole-in-one contest and the mulligans and the beat the pro, pay the pro, and it's a bundle price. Maybe it's $50 in advance or $75, and then promote it on your website, promote it in your emails. Give golfers the opportunity to purchase that in advance. It saves time and money at registration, but it gets them more involved in advance. Usually the guy or gal who reserve the foursome with their buddies is usually going to pay for it, but make sure you accept credit cards. So bundle all the games and contests, and then definitely accept credit cards. Now, if you don't get them in advance, make sure that you're prepared at registration. Accept credit cards, have a credit card swiper, have a big poster, a billboard showing what they're going to get, so that they feel like they're getting their money's worth. And this way you don't have to run around and sell too many raffle tickets or too many mulligans, throughout the day. It cuts down on that work, and it also gets people involved. The next way to really maximize their involvement is great staff and volunteers. So many times when I get to a tournament and at registration, the people really are overwhelmed. They don't even realize what's happening. They're looking for your name and they check you off. But make sure that you have someone or several, in fact, all of your volunteers at registration, not only well informed, but excited, great personalities, bubbly, and encourage them and teach them how to sell your games and contests in advance at registration. Get them excited. Tell them, hey, you get a chance to win $1 million. Hey, you get a chance to win a car, and hey, don't forget those mulligans. But make sure you train, motivate, and encourage your staff. I even like to have a little contest with the volunteers at registration. Whoever sells the most games and contests gets a little bonus, maybe a little weekend getaway, maybe a round of golf, maybe a dinner for two, but some type of incentive that gets your volunteers and your staff very motivated and very excited at registration and throughout the day. Next, make sure you have great prizes. And you promote them. You got to promote those great prizes. So many times I get to a tournament and all I'm going to win is a sleeve of golf balls. That's okay, or a glove, sure. But the better the prize, the more you're going to get people involved, and promote them. Let people know in advance, if you win that close to the pin, you're going to win a $100 gift certificate or a driver or a putter. Putting contest, you're going to win $10,000. So promote those in advance. Make the prizes really great and let them know, because they're going to get excited. They're going to get involved. They're going to get engaged. And then this is the big one, gang, and it's very important. And sometimes we miss out on this one. A lot of revenue to be had with this concept, and that is to have every single game and contest sponsored. Remember, it's a great exposure tool for the sponsor. It helps you generate additional revenue, and it gives that sponsor a chance to engage with your golfers. So you remember, golfers are buyers. They buy things, and your sponsors want to reach buyers. So get every game and contest sponsored. This makes all the revenue from the game basically profit. So for example, if you have a hole-in-one contest and you get it sponsored, then all the revenue from that contest is going to be profit, found money. So be no expenses for you if you get everything sponsored. I get very frustrated when I see a hole fund, just a hole fund by itself. See, this is an opportunity for a sponsor to get involved with a game and contest, even if it's just the close to the pin or the long drive. It allows the sponsor to bring out their staff and their people to sit on that hole and promote the contest in kind of a low threatening, non-salesy kind of a way where they're building relationships with your golfers and potential customers. So get every gaming contest sponsored. But if you try these things, you're going to get more involvement. You want to get 100% of your golfers involved. You want to maximize your income by promoting it properly and getting everyone bought in advance, ideally, and then worst case is at registration. So don't be afraid to promote this stuff in advance and really push it at your event. All right, the next thing is I want to talk just a little bit about the top 10 games that we see. Now, there's hundreds of games. In fact, we have a book with over 400 games and contests and formats. But I'm just going to touch on a few that I'm sure some of you may have heard of these, but maybe aren't taking advantage of them. So think about some of these top 10 that we've found out there. Number one is Pay the Pro. I love this one because golfers rarely can hit the ball great, especially weekend golfers or the ones that play in your tournament. But when you pay the pro hits the ball for you. It's real simple. You bring a golf pro out. Typically, it's going to be on a par 5, where that golf pro is basically going to hit that ball, 350 to 400 yards, getting you that much closer to the green. So pay the pro. You bring a golf pro out, and there's many ways to handle this. Sometimes they'll do it at no charge and split the revenue with you. Sometimes you can pay the pro to come out and just do that, and then all the revenue's down. There's several ways to handle the finances on this, but pay the pro. Get golf pros out there, and usually it's a long drive competition. The next one I love is called Beat the Pro. You probably have heard of it, but I love Beat the Pro because it gives us golfers who think we're good a chance to try to beat a pro. Typically, this is held on a par 3, and you put some local golf pros or national golf pros on a par 3, and the golfer gets to come up and challenge that pro to get it close to the pin. It's a fun competition, and it generates a lot of excitement and can generate a lot of money for you. The next one is the cannon gun. This is getting really popular around the country, and it's very simply a cannon that's designed to shoot a golf ball. And the golf ball will usually go 300 to 350 yards. So golfers will pay you to be able to shoot that gun themselves. And imagine shooting a golf ball out of a cannon gun that can go 350 yards. Typically, it's going to hit the green, giving them an eagle putt. And it's just so much fun. It's just different. It's unique. And some of us macho guys want to shoot a cannon. So the cannon gun seems to be very popular now and making a lot of money for a lot of people, a lot of organizations. The next one is the drone drop. Now, there's 2 types of drone drops. Both I love. Both I think are great. Drone drop 1 is 1 ball. So what happens is on a tee box, there's a drone set up. It carries 1 ball, and you pay $5, $10, $20 to have that drone take the ball to the green and drop it on the green. Now you pay more for that drone to be closer to the pin. So, for example, you may pay $20 and it's going to drop that ball only 5 feet above the pin. But if you pay $5, they'll raise the drone and it might be 20, 30 feet up in the air and won't get as close. So you get benefited by paying more to drop that 1 ball. I love this concept. I saw it the first time just a few months ago. And it's a big moneymaker. You can hire outside companies. You can get a drone yourself if you got someone who knows how to handle drones. But it's a 1 ball drone where they pay you at the tee box. They drop 1 ball on the green, giving you a lot of times, an eagle putt, definitely a birdie putt, if not sometimes a hole in one. I've seen it done where that drone drops it right in the hole. So that's a fun one. Then you've got the multi-ball drone drop. Now this is being replaced from the helicopter drop. The helicopter tends to be a little bit expensive. It's fun, it's exciting, but it's a lot of work and very expensive. So the drone drop with multi-balls is taking the place of that helicopter drop, where the drone will carry multiple balls, 50, 100, 200, sometimes 500. They make drones, heavy-duty drones, that'll take a group of balls. Now what happens in this scenario, it's kind of like a raffle. a big raffle, an elaborate raffle where people will buy numbered golf balls, and then they will take this drone, drop the hundreds of golf balls that people bought, and close to the pin in the hole wins different various prizes, depending on how close those balls and their balls get to the hole. Now, this probably isn't done well during a tournament. This might be done before or after a tournament, but it raises a lot of awareness. It's very exciting. But the big challenge here is you've got to have volunteers selling these balls, just like they would be selling raffle tickets. It's just a different elaborated raffle. It's exactly what it is. But it's a lot of fun. And I think you can make a lot of money doing it, right, if you have the team to sell those balls. The next one is a gambling hole. I love this gambling hole because it can make a lot of money. Usually we put out the closest to the pin, which is fine and great. But this gambling hole takes it a step further and allows you to make a lot of money. And the concept is very simple. Typically on a par three, you will draw a chalk circle around the pin. It can be a 20-foot chalk circle. It can be a 10-foot chalk circle. It can be both. And then you have a volunteer standing at the tee box asking the volunteers if they'd like to double their money. As the golfers come through, they can offer $5 and have a chance to win 10. If they hit inside the 10-foot circle, they can triple their money. 20-foot circle, they can double their money. But bottom line is it allows you to make a lot of money because golfers have every good intention of hitting inside that circle, but it's very tough for amateur golfers to hit inside that circle. You can sell them for 5, 10, 15, 20. You can do $100, but make sure that $100 person who buys that chance is not a pro and takes you for the money. So keep it low, so it's low risk, but there's a good chance you can make a lot of money. You can make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on a gambling hole on a par three. Make sure it's at least 155 to 160 yards, not too far, because then there's no chance, not too close, or you don't. It's too easy. So the gambling hole is great. Putting contests. I love putting contests. These typically are done in advance, and it works very simply where you can have a grand prize winner of $10, $20, $50,000 for the grand prize winner. You buy insurance to make sure it gets covered, but it works like this. Before the tournament, everyone gets a chance to qualify for the grand prize. So it might be, $10 gives them, 3 putts. And those 3 putts are maybe 10-foot or 15-foot putts, where if they get it in the hole, they qualifies them to win the $10,000. And then hopefully everyone does it. At the end of the tournament, you bring the winners back, the qualifiers, and they get a chance to win the $10,000. But now obviously the putt's going to be moved to about a 40, 50, 60-foot putt. Makes it a lot difficult, but you buy insurance to make sure that it's covered. But big money maker, putting contest, I love. Hole-in-one competitions, we've all seen them. They're great and they're fun, but I think we're missing a big opportunity to make a lot of money with the hole-in-one competition. So you can have a hole-in-one out there on the course, but charge money to do it. You got to make it a little bit easier than the typical hole-in-one, because typical hole-in-one is 195 yards and it's almost impossible. But what I would rather see you do is make a standalone hole-in-one competition, where maybe it's the weekend before, or it's a separate date, or even before the tournament, a couple hours, where on the driving range, you're selling balls at $1 a ball. And the participants can buy 50 balls and try to get closest to the pin or in the hole. That qualifies them to win, or to possibly win the $1 million. I love $1 million because that's a great promotional tool. But then at the end of the tournament, you have those qualifiers come back, and maybe you have 4 people who actually qualified, and they get the chance to win the $1 million. But this is a huge moneymaker if you make it kind of a standalone event where you're charging $1 a ball, and you get 20 balls for $20, and then you only have 3 or 4 qualifiers at the end after the tournament, or on that separate day that you do that. So hole-in-one competitions are huge. At minimum, you're going to want to give a close to the pin, so someone wins something, maybe a golf bag or a set of clubs. But done right, promoted right, big money. The other thing I love to see is a skills challenge. Now this can be done, on the tournament or during the tournament, or again, stand alone before and after the tournament. And that's simply different competitions set up It could be a chipping contest, which is the most popular. It can be the putting contest we talked about, maybe long drive, but they're standalone events where individuals get to pay to participate and then, compete for prizes. But I love that chipping contest towards the practice screen. It's a lot of fun. But that's could be a whole separate event within your organization or on a separate day. And then finally, skins. Skins are great. I don't see a lot of skins game being played in charity events, and I think we're missing out another, great opportunity where skins is very simple. It can be a team skins if you're doing a scramble or individual. If you skins if you're doing individual, but it's simple. Every player pays $20 into the skins pot, and the golfing team or individual who has the lowest score on a particular hole, and no one else has that score, they can win the pot. Now, if 2 or 3 holes have the lowest score, you split that pot. But here's the magic for you, and you split that pot with your organization. It's 50-50, where the winners of the skins get part of the money and your organization gets the other part. So it's a great moneymaker. It's not being done a lot with charity events, and the winners can win a lot of money. So something to think about in the skins game. So those are really the top 10 that we found. And don't limit yourself, but there's a lot of other games. We're going to cover a few, but those are the big ones that I see making the most amount of money. So let me just kind of elaborate on a couple of them. You're saying, okay, these sound great. Where do I find these organizations? Well, the long drive, or what I say, the Pay the Pro is really done well by a group called Charity Golf International. And they have contracts with all the major long drive champions. They'll send a long drive champion out to your event. And remember, these guys, these gals can hit the ball 300, 400, 500 yards. And they'll fly in, they're treated like a celebrity, and they'll participate in your event. There's several ways to handle this. In a lot of cases, there's no risk to you. The golfers will work on a percentage, split the revenue with you, but it's a great game if you want to use Pay the Pro. The next one is Beat the Pro, and this is done really well by an organization called Backswing Golf Events. I love this one because they bring out LPGA mini tour, and typically it's young women who are really great golfers, and they're fun, and they're entertaining. They got great personalities, and they will really entertain your guy golfers on a par 3. And they'll come in, and there's several ways to handle it with them also. You can just pay a flat fee, or you can split the revenues. There's several ways to handle that, but Backswing Golf Events is a great organization and one of our preferred vendors, and one that has made a lot of money for a lot of organizations. If you have not seen what a cannon gun looks like, here's a picture of a cannon gun. It works on air pressure, and believe it or not, this little gun will shoot that ball over 300 yards. And then if you're wondering what the drone drop looks like, this is a drone. Look at that box full of balls, and it can fit 300, 400, 500 balls. So imagine you're selling them for, $5 a ball, $10 a ball, even at $1 a ball. It's big money. But here's the secret. Remember, you got to have great prizes. You've got to win something big. You can also buy insurance for this, where if it goes in the hole, it's a car or something big, $10,000. But make sure you have big prizes. But that's really a lot of fun to do, and makes a lot of money. So that's what a drone looks like. Just some other games and contests that I'm sure that you're aware of, and we could spend hours talking about all the games and contests, but I'm sure you sell mulligans. And I always bring up the fact that we're missing the boat on these mulligans, because if you don't know what a mulligan is, it's simply a do-over. You're selling the chance for a golfer to do it over. But the problem with this mulligan game is that you are not keeping track of it. These golfers will buy a mulligan. You give them this little red ticket. They put it in their pocket. And I hate to tell you this, gang, but golfers are cheaters, and they will use more mulligans than they buy. So your job is to make sure you keep track of that. And so I like to see a balloon. When you sell a mulligan, you blow up a balloon. If they buy 3 mulligans, you get them 3 balloons, and they have to pop the balloon if they use that mulligan. So there's no issue of how many they use, and they can't cheat. They can't use more than they buy, and it's a great way to do that. Selling string is very popular. You can sell string for whatever your demographics will allow. It's $1 a foot, $5 a foot, where string can be sold in increments, and this string is used to move the ball. whether it's on the putting green, whether it's from, out of bounds to inbounds, whether it's behind a tree, away from the tree, and they can use this string to move the ball at a cost that you make the money. And then also, you can sell scissors. I love this concept where you can sell a pair of scissors, not only covering the cost of the scissors, but gives them the opportunity to cut and use parts of that string. So let's say they bought 50 foot of string at $1 a foot. Now there's 50 bucks, and then they can use 10 feet at a time, 5 foot at a time throughout the day. So selling string is a lot of fun. Close to the pin, we've all heard it, close to the pin. Again, remember, we want to have great prizes that are promoted in advance, but here's some things you want to be thinking about. I would have a close to the pin on every par three. Definitely, you could also do close to the pin on some par fours and par fives in their approach shot. But also make sure that you have close to the pin for regular men, you have one for seniors, you have one for women, and you have one for juniors. So everyone feels like they have a chance to win. Promote them properly, and you'll make a lot of winners. Straight drive, we've all heard obviously the long drive, which is great, but why not the straight drive? You draw a chalk circle right down the middle of the fairway, and whoever gets close to that string can also win some great prizes. The longest putt, you probably seen it. I spelled longest wrong, but you know what I'm saying. But the longest putt is the longest putt on a green. And that can be another prize for you. A play from the fairway. You might sell the opportunity to a team for 20 bucks to, instead of hitting it from the tee box, they can take the ball, drop it in the middle of the fairway, 300 yards down there, right in the center, and pay to be able to do that. Rolling the dice is always fun, where the golfers get the opportunity to roll a dice and pay for that opportunity, and then they take whatever that dice shows as their score for that hole. They could have a hole in one, or they could have a 6. So that's a fun little game. And then throw the ball from the sand. We've all been in the sand. You know, it's hard to get there. So you may want to charge them for the opportunity to throw the ball out of the sand closer to the pin. So there's some other honorary mentions that we love to see and love to do. The big question is going to come up, and it always does, is how many games are too much? I want to address this because a very popular question. And the bigger question is, what is the purpose of your event? So if you're out there just to raise money and have a good time, then, a lot of games, a lot of contests are fun, but it will slow up play. So you got to be careful that these games are organized, the volunteers understand what they're doing, and make sure that it runs smoothly, because too many games can slow up pace of play. But I was at an event put on by a convention bureau one time, and they had every hole packed with something. They had a hotel sponsoring one hole, they had a bar, a restaurant sponsoring another hole. Every hole was packed, and it was just a hoot. We really didn't even care about the golf, and this was okay because it was more about the entertainment factor than the actual competition. Now, where you don't want to have a lot of fun games and contests is in a serious competition. If you've got a serious competition where they're competing to be the best men in the men's group, or the best woman in the women's group, or maybe even a mini tour event or an industry challenge, you want to be careful not to have too many games. Still close to the pin, long drive, those are fun, but you start distracting these golfers and it takes away from their competitive spirit. So the more the competitiveness of the tournament, the less the games. The more fun and entertaining and fundraising aspect, the more the merrier. So keep that in mind. But here's just some fun things that you can add to your tournament that are money-making opportunities. Now, keep in mind, every hole, every opportunity should be sponsored. You can have these sponsored from $250 to $5,000. Sponsoring a hole is so important because it gives the company not only the opportunity to get exposure to your golfers, but bigger than that, the opportunity to be out in the tournament on a tee box at a green, helping golfers, introducing themselves, building relationships, and building customers. Very, very important. Here's just a few ideas that are fun that I've seen work very well, and that's a celebrity on a box. Bring out a celebrity that's signing autographs and taking pictures, and ideally the celebrity knows you and comes out and volunteers their time. But big money maker, taking pictures with a celebrity. Celebrity could be, an ex-athlete, a current athlete. It can be someone on local radio, television. It can even be a big name if they're in your community and support your organization. But Celebrity pictures and autographs are great. A chef on the box. I love this one where someone is actually cooking for your golfers out on the tee box. Fresh food. I love this because we're always hungry as golfers, and it's just a fun thing. A restaurant can sponsor this. A big company can sponsor this, but that's a lot of fun. Cigar rolling is really popular. There's companies out there that will bring in actual trained, certified cigar rollers and roll the cigars right there on the spot. Takes a minute, so you got to be careful not to take too much time doing that, but that's always a fun hole to sponsor. Drinks and shots are popular, whether you have a bartender there mixing the drinks, selling shots, pouring shots, but that's always a great sponsored hole. Drive with a baseball bat. I saw this happen really fun where the local baseball team or even the minor league team sponsors that hole. And instead of using the golf club, you can use a baseball bat and you hit that golf ball with a baseball bat. It goes a long way, and that's a fun sponsored opportunity. Free throws at the tee box. You can set up a little, free throw basketball hoop on your tee box, and people can shoot for prizes. This is greatly sponsored by your local basketball team. Professional or the women's basketball gives them exposure. They can sell tickets and build relationships and get emails, and shooting free throws on a tee box is fun. The other one I've seen is, hitting a tennis ball for the whole hole, whether it's from the tee box all the way to the green. That's a fun one. Local tennis clubs might be willing to sponsor this. Maybe the resort that's hosting the event, they want to promote their tennis, facility and their leagues there. So it's hitting the tennis ball. Massage hole is always great. You get a local spa to come in and set up some spa chairs on your tee box and give the golfers a short little few minute massage. That's always fun. Putting with a hockey stick. I've seen this happen where instead of putters, they have to use hockey sticks on the green. Obviously, maybe the local hockey team could sponsor this one. Sampling is always a popular one. Sampling different types of foods. Your grocery store can do this. Any new foods coming out into the market, whether it's chips and salsa or sushi, whatever, but they can do sampling on a particular hole. And then obviously the big one is wine tasting. Everyone loves wine tasting, and you can have the winery, local brewery, local to host that, sponsor that, and get exposure for their winery as well as their new wine. So that's always a fun one. So those are just some fun whole activities I want to encourage you to think about. Again, make sure you get them sponsored. Great opportunity to make a lot more money. All right. Before I wrap up, I just want to remind you, if you haven't been with us before, we are the GTAA. We're the Golf Tournament Association of America, where we, bottom line is we're here to serve you. We're here to help you produce the best golf tournament possible. And our membership is free of charge. We send out a weekly newsletter giving you additional tips. We have a ton of these videos and webinars on our YouTube channel, which is called the Golf Tournament Channel. I'll send you this link on all this stuff. And then we have now our podcast on Spotify. We also have a certification program. If you want to take your career to the next level and become a tournament certified planner, gives you credibility, gives you exposure, gives you knowledge, gives you confidence. And we can do that program right online. An easy program to do, where you do watch the videos, read the manuals, and then take a test. But I want to highlight one thing we have, which covers today's stuff as well as a lot more. We've written a new book called The 400 Games and Contests, a complete guide to all the formats, all the games, all the contests. It has scoring methods, but 400 different ways that you can make money, not just with your tournament, but for your individual golfers. We have it available, the hard copy for $20 and the e-version for only 10. So you can get that, and I'll send you again that information after a follow-up with this. So we appreciate your time. I just want to remind you that games and contests are big money. Do it right. You can have, additional revenue. You make sure you have, the great prizes. You promote it in advance. Make sure that you've got great volunteers that are, selling it. Bottom line is, if you sell it, you got great prizes, promote it in advance, you're going to make a lot of money. I believe that you could raise an additional 25% to your bottom line. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Thank you for serving your community, raising money. If there's anything that we can do here, please reach out to us. We're here to help you. And good luck with your events. Let us know how it goes. And let me know if you have some new ideas. We want to hear about those and help you
even doing better. So this is Phil Mordino with the GTAA signing off. Thanks for your time. Good luck.